Did you notice which country never changed? However, that was the index up to 2024, before Trump was re-elected for his presidency. Civil liberties, for the most part, haven't had the threat of being fully eliminated up to that point. Trump has been in office now for 54 days, and already is becoming a threat to everyone's civil liberties.
A civil liberty is the state of being subject only to laws established for the good of the community. They create individual rights protected by the law from unjust government or other interference. Civil liberties are freedoms guaranteed by the American Constitution. They are natural rights inherited to each person. The most notable being the freedom of speech, the freedom of action, and freedom to one's privacy.
According to the New York Times, there is no universally accepted definition of a constitutional crisis, but legal scholars agree about some of its characteristics. It is generally the product of presidential defiance of laws and judicial rulings. It is not binary. It is a slope, not a switch. It can be cumulative, and once one starts, it can get much worse.
1984 by George Orwell is a dystopian book about limited freedoms, overarching surveillance, and violent repercussions to those who act out against the party and Big Brother. Civil liberties are non-existent to those who don't hold a very high position in the social pyramid that the party correlates to. The highest position being the inner party, and even more specifically, those who are government officials or thought police.
The way Orwell expresses his warnings about eroding civil liberties through his writing inspired us to focus more clearly on how the United States today is experiencing what he was warning us about. It made us contemplate how limited our own freedoms were, especially with Trump's push to change laws that have been previously indicated in the Constitution.
1984's warnings have a very real possibility of becoming reality. As the U.S. society slowly shifts from the history of what our country once was, we continue to see more censorship, surveillance, and violence towards innocent people. If we do not change what we are currently doing, or at least try to make a change, the United States will end up in a dystopian reality similar to that of 1984.
Since the founding of our nation, many of our greatest strides, from gaining our independence to abolition of civil rights, to extending the vote for women, have been led by people of faith and started in prayer. When we open our hearts to faith, we fill our hearts with love. Many of the people in this room lead and support the charities and faith-based institutions that bring hope to the lives of our citizens, comfort to those in despair, and solace to those in grief, aid to those in need, and a helping hand to the struggling people all around the world, of which there are so many. To the lives of our citizens.
Trump is currently working to revoke birthright citizenship.
Donald Trump has been in office since January 20th, 2025. Since then, on top of revoking birthright citizenship, he has freezed federal funding, shut down an agency, fired government employees subject to civil service protections, and threatened to deport people based on their political views, all of which are unconstitutional and illegal actions. If he continues, the United States of America will be led into a constitutional crisis.
As of Monday, March 10th, the U.S. has been added to the Global Human Rights Watch list due to declining civil liberties. Other countries on this list consist of Serbia, Pakistan, and Democratic Republic of the Congo. Notice a trend?
Breaking news. ICE, which is Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has now detained Mahmoud Khalil. He is a Palestinian activist who attended Columbia University. Donald Trump's reasoning was that Mahmoud Khalil was a terrorist sympathizer. Meanwhile, Mahmoud Khalil said that his movement was a movement for social justice and freedom and equality for everyone, which he told CNN in an interview the year prior. Mahmoud Khalil had a green card and is a legal citizen. However, it is being said that Trump is revoking his green card and trying to deport him as we speak.
What happens on a day-to-day basis for you?
I wake up, go to work, which the party assigned to me, work for the time they allotted me, walk home with no strain from my normal path since that is looked down on by the party, and then I sleep for the amount of time that the party says is normal.
What happens when you decide you just want to walk around?
I don't know. I can't say that I've ever done that.
How do you feel about always being watched by the telescreens?
I think it is necessary to keep people in line with the views of the party.
What about your privacy?
Privacy is overrated. When people have too much of it, it becomes a problem that I have to deal with later.
What if you decide you wanted to one day?
I can never want to. The party says, and I do.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
The party does what is necessary.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay?
Citizens of the party have no right to their own privacy.
The telescreens are for their own good. The party knows best.
In 1984, it is said that where there is equality, there is sanity. In America, constitutionally, everyone is supposed to be equal relating to their civil liberties. Despite that, we as a country have inequalities linked into nearly everything. Whether that be inequalities based on race, gender, or wealth, they are everywhere. The most prominent examples include voting, education, and the criminal justice system.
Trump is constantly looking to seize power and has no intentions of relinquishing it. He has been challenging almost every constraint on its power and then hoping the courts will allow him to continue without reprimand. He is purposely disobeying every statute that is thrown his way. With his administration in power in the United States today, including his friendship with billionaire Elon Musk, we are closer to being in a dictatorship now than ever before.
As of Monday, March 17th, Trump has been in office for 57 days. To put that into perspective, Adolf Hitler dismantled German democracy during his rise to power in less than 2 months. It took him 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes. Or in simpler words, 53 days. Trump is only getting started.
NBC News wrote an article declaring that Trump is reversing the Justice Department's civil rights policies. In other words, he is targeting DEI, rolling back LGBTQ protections, suing states during the most recent election, saying that they were illegally purging voter rolls, while also claiming that the 2020 election was stolen and that undocumented immigrants were illegally voting for Democrats and backing abortion rights opponents. These rights being threatened might not apply to you now, but who knows what will happen in the future if Trump continues on this path.